Hey, Rainbow Village, Cicely Mahid here, CEO, National Director, Pageant and Life Coach of Rainbow Universe Pageants and Youth Services. This is my vlog about the face of RUPYS. As you know, we are looking for 2 spokesmodels, 6 months out of the year, 1 spokesmodel, male, and another 6 months of the rest of the year, a female. So I like to keep it equal, so male and female for the spokesmodel. And so I want to give you some more details about what the face of RUPYS is all about. So these 2 people are between the ages of 17 through 24. I chose that age range because I'm looking for somebody who has some type of maturity. So 17 is a great age to start that up until the age of 24 to represent our youth and young adult culture, Gen Z basically. So again, that is a male and a female. There's a 6-month reign for each male and each female. And basically, as the face of RUPYS spokesmodel, you will be out in the community representing what we are all about. So you're an ambassador of our pageant system. I'm looking for somebody who is comfortable with being out in the community representing what we're all about, who is comfortable with wearing very little makeup or no makeup at all, because you know this is an inner beauty pageant system. And we are representing what happens on the inside, what we are representing to the world, what we display to the world about our inner beauty. And that's huge because people who wear a lot of makeup, that's not who you are. You want people to see who you truly are from the inside out, what you represent, what your values are, what your goals are. How does your beauty shine from the inside out? We don't want somebody who you just look at them and you're like, oh my God, you're so beautiful, and they've got a ton of makeup on. What about when they have the makeup off? How beautiful are they? How do they treat themselves and treat other people? So that's what we're all about. So somebody who's comfortable with that, females, of course, we don't want the males to wear any makeup at all. I also am looking for somebody who is against racism. So you're not afraid to, express your DEI, your diversity, equity, inclusion, which basically means that you include everybody, that you're not in a clique in your culture. If you're a certain race and you're not like, oh, I don't want to hang out with this person because they don't look like me, or they don't sound like me, or I don't do what they do, and you're not uncomfortable being near them, you're not jealous of a certain race. That's not a good representation of what Rainbow Universe Pageants is all about. So somebody who's not racist and you adopt the concept of DEI. I'm looking for somebody who has a healthy level of self-esteem and confidence, so you don't have to be arrogant or egotistical or full of yourself, but just somebody who can represent themselves in a light that says, I'm confident. I am confident in communicating with other people. I'm confident in who I am, and you don't necessarily know exactly who you are between 17 and 24, but you're comfortable expressing who you are becoming. And so that's huge. So somebody with a healthy level of self-esteem and confidence, no legal issues. So that does not mean that you have never been incarcerated before in juvenile hall or juvenile detention center or jail or anything like that. It just means that you've overcome. Maybe you have been incarcerated and you are in a different place in your life right now. And you are representing yourself in a way that says, I am a better person. I trust myself. I trust my goals and my path, and I'm doing better in life. And so you have this, air or quality about you that says, I've grown from my mistakes from the past. And so that's something I'm looking for, but not currently involved in any major legal issues or anything like that. I'm also looking for somebody who does not have sex offenses. So you're not behind your belt. You're not a sex offender, and you don't engage in, prostitution or pimping people out. You're not doing sex videos or sexting online, and, you're not overly sexual, and you have to wear really tight clothes just to say, hey, this is my sexuality and I'm expressing it. Nothing wrong with expressing your sexuality, but you don't need to pour it all over everybody. So I'm looking for somebody who's more modest, who's not a sex offender, and somebody who's spiritual, but not necessarily religious. Everybody knows I am a spiritual person, that I do not Bible push. I do not go around saying you have to go to church and you have to do this and you have to do that. I'm more like an encourager and a spiritual person. So I follow the laws and the teachings of Jesus Christ. You don't necessarily have to do that. You can be spiritual in another way. You pray, you meditate, you connect with spirit in a different way, but somebody who can express that spirit, because that is important for Gen Z, for the youth generation, to be able to connect with their spirit and not be all about the physical. That just creates an overall mind, body, spirit connection. and overall mental health. So somebody who's not necessarily religious. So I'm not looking for religious fanatics who come at me and say, hey, God this and God this. Guess what, Miss CC? I don't know all about the Bible. You don't need to do that. You just be, a spiritual person who just practices a spirituality. You have a spiritual background and you're confident and open to expressing that. Someone who also can promote our pageant system and our additional youth programs, because as you know, it's Rainbow Universe Pageants and Youth Services. So we do the pageants, and then we also have the youth services and membership programs, and image consulting, workshops, all kinds of stuff going on for youth and young adults. So you're willing to promote that as well. And then you can communicate and support your platform, whatever that may be. And then you will be traveling with me, the CEO, when necessary, all expenses paid. Won't be a whole lot of travel, so I'm not going to pull you out of school and be like, hey, you got to come out of class or you're not going to be in school this week. Nice try. We won't be doing that, just, the times that you're available. And when we have big events, either in, far away places or somewhere where you would need to, possibly take an Uber or something like that, or we drive there or take a plane to another state or something like that to support a director. So will you be willing to do that? And then supporting and getting familiar with our brand. So be willing to adopt what we stand for, which of course is inner beauty and motivating youth to excellence, and then abide by our code of ethics. Very, very important. So you also want to be willing to serve the world of your local community in whatever aspect is near and dear to your heart. So I want somebody who is active in the community, who loves to volunteer, who loves to help other people. You serve the homeless, on holidays, you're making sure you're feeding the homeless or you're doing something good in the world. You don't necessarily have to be an actual volunteer, but you're doing something. You don't have to broadcast it, but hey, you know what? You can talk about it. Hey, I see homeless people in the corner on my street all the time. I like to feed them when I can, or I talk to some homeless people, or I want to make sure that the youth in the community that I live in are literate and they are able to read. So I help out with reading sometimes, or I babysit. I care about people. There's these elderly people that live next door to me, and sometimes they need help bringing up their groceries. I help them, stuff like that. Just somebody who is a servant of the world and of the people around you. Express love, our circle of love. So a little bit more about the spokesmodel role. The spokesmodel plays a very pivotal role in our pageant system. So you're not just a title holder. You're the living, breathing embodiment of our pageant system's values and our mission. And so that means your goals, your significance goes beyond that crown. You're wearing the crown and you're representing our pageant system, but what you're doing goes beyond that. So which makes you different and separate from an actual pageant title winner. So you're a brand ambassador. You are the voice of advocacy. You are a connector and a role model. And then you provide strategic value. So we are looking for partnerships, and we are looking for somebody who can boost recruitment. And, your presence can turn a local event into maybe a movement. Who knows? Your ideas, your creativity, your innovation can just open doors for Rainbow Universe Pageants and Youth Services, and yourself as well, because you are, you're building your resume as you are representing and supporting our system. So a successful spokesmodel blends charisma with strategy. So you're not just a good-looking, pretty, cute person with a beautiful face. That's not what it's about. You're a powerhouse of communication, influence, and professionalism. And so you're able to communicate properly, clearly, speak confidently. When you do public speaking, you have interpersonal and networking skills that are really amazing, or you're working your way up there. You are media savvy, and you have branding awareness, so you're aware of our brand, and you're aware of connecting with other brands as well, because I connect with other organizations. And then you're adaptable, and you have emotional intelligence, or you're working your way up to emotional intelligence. Now, when you're 50, 60, 70, sometimes you still aren't completely emotionally intelligent. That's okay. It's normal. It takes time to get there, and we are constantly growing, especially if you start at an older age, but at a young age, between 17 through 24, you guys are learning a lot about your emotions and you're learning how to regulate them. And so I'm looking for somebody who is able to say, hey, you know what? I don't need to fight with this person. I need to just chill for a while. I don't have to get in your face. I don't have to tell you off. I'm just going to take a walk. That's emotional intelligence. I heard a rumor and I'm going to go tell Becky. But you know what? If I tell Becky, Becky might tell Susan. And if she tells Susan, Susan might tell Bobby. And then it gets to David. And then the whole school knows. So I'm not going to say anything because this is a secret that nobody needs to know. That's emotional intelligence. So stuff like that. I'm looking for somebody who can think critically and just have a heart to understand and care about what other people's feelings are, So you're able to, kind of keep your mouth shut. So basically, there are 3 steps in my selection process. So you will go to the flyer, scan the QR code on the flyer, and then answer the hot seat question, which can lead you to the next step, which is be invited to a Zoom or in-person 30-minute interview with me. And then if I like what I see and what I hear, then you will meet with me in person, and we will discuss this opportunity further. So once you become a spokesmodel of the face of RUPYS spokesmodel, you will receive a spokesmodel kit, which includes your journal workbook, stipend for expenses. You also will get money for obtaining contestants every month throughout your 6-month reign. You get a monthly planning packet for each month of your reign. So there will be activities that you will be doing every month. Not a whole lot, just, according to your availability and to what you're interested in and what you're open to. And then, of course, leadership training companion. So you are a leader, so you will continue to learn how to uphold that leadership, those leadership qualities that you already possess, and then the ones that you may need to carry on as you mature. And then also social media launch plan, and then more, so you'll be on social media. Of course, we're going to work with you with a launch plan to make sure that you're able to get the word out about our pageant system and about yourself as well. So gifts, prizes, and rewards include anything from gift cards, scholarships, empowerment coaching, which is free of charge. Any coaching that you get will be free of charge. You will be placed on the cover of Pageantry magazine. Photo shoots, jewelry, skincare, possible celebrity endorsements or support if we are able to connect with a celebrity, media and public speaking opportunities, and of course you get your lovely handy-dandy crown and your sash, which you will keep with you, and of course adorn and wear wherever you go. So that is the face of RUPYS spokesmodel information I wanted everybody to know about. So again, 17 through 24, male and female, reigning 6 months each throughout the year. Now that does not mean it has to start in January to June. Anytime I find somebody that fits this role, you will be crowned, and then you have that 6-month reign. It can, go on into the next year. So just each title winner, a male and a female, will reign a total of 6 months. So that is the spokesmodel of Rainbow Universe Pageants and Youth Services, the face of RUPYS. Please check out our brand new flyer and scan that QR code and come get your crown. Thanks so much for listening. Toodles.